Good morning, church. You excited to be in the house of the Lord this morning? We're going to call on the name of Jehovah this morning. I'm going to teach you guys a new song. We have expectant hearts this morning for Jehovah to move. Amen? So let's sing this together. He shames every idol. He reigns without rival. He goes by the name of Jehovah, Jehovah. He speaks into nothing, and darkness goes running. He goes by the name of Jehovah, Jehovah. Call the name, call the name, call the name, Jehovah. All our praise, all our praise, all our praise belongs to Him. Come on, church. Oh, yeah. His mouth will be silent. He's fighting for Zion. There's no other God like Jehovah, Jehovah. His arm never tired. His eyes are like fire. There's no other God like Jehovah, Jehovah. We call the name, come on. Call the name, call the name, call the name, Jehovah. All our praise, all our praise, all our praise belongs to you. We call the name, call the name, Jehovah. And all our praise, and all our praise belongs to Him. Come on, sing it. Let's declare this thing together. Come on. Jehovah Nissi, fight your battle. 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 Sing out, come on. Jehovah Nissi, fight your battle. Jehovah Jireh, meet your need. Jehovah Rapha, heal your body. Jehovah Shalom, be your peace. Jehovah, Jehovah Nissi, fight your battles. Jehovah Jireh, meet your need. Jehovah Rapha, heal your body. Jehovah Shalom, be your peace. Jehovah.
Well, hello, Keystone, Montgomeryville. It is the last day of the year, and we are online only. Man, it has been a while since I have recorded a sermon like this. In fact, I think it's been 1 year. What an incredible year it was between the two. It's the end of the year, and so here's what I want to do. Here's what I want to do. I'm going to be very quick, very quick. I want to end this year where we started. So I'm going to remind you of something. I'm going to remind you of something I said to this church 365 days ago. Can you believe that? Maybe it's 366. I don't know how that works, but it was a long time ago. Are you ready? It's this. Two little phrases. You won't finish what you don't start. Do you remember that? You probably don't. You won't finish what you don't start. And we set some goals on that first day, personal goals, church goals. So I just want to ask you. It's the last day of the year. Did you do it? Did you start anything? Did you finish anything? Let's get real for a minute. Did you lose that 30 pounds? Did you lose that 30 pounds? Did you run that marathon? Did you become a better person this year? Hey, how about this? Did you start serving at Keystone? Maybe you said you were, but you're like, I don't know, Mark. Listen. Here's what I know. Here's what it is. That year, it got long, didn't it? Man, it got long. There was plenty of time left, though, between now and midnight tonight. Go right now and sign up for that marathon, but you got to run it. You got to start. Okay, obviously, you are not going to do that, right? You are not going to do that. So here's what we're going to do. One time only. Who needs a reset on a few of our goals that we had for this year? Maybe time got away from you, but now you're remembering. Now you're starting to come in. Maybe even hit pause just a second ago just to go get more pancakes or something. I know what people do when they watch online. But here we are again. I want to tell you this one more time this year. You won't start. No, you will do that. You won't finish what you don't start. You won't finish what you don't start. Here's what I know. Everybody has something, something, right, that God has told them to do. He said, I need you to start this. And you've even said, man, I want to do that. Maybe it was to get healthy. And God was like, yeah, I love you. We need to get healthy. Maybe that was it. Or maybe it was to start a new business this year. Or maybe it was to start serving at Keystone. Or maybe it was to start tithing and being generous with your treasure, your finance. Who are we kidding? Your money. God was like, you need to be generous with this thing. And just for whatever reason, you didn't do it. The good news is New Year starts tomorrow. So I know this. You could start this year. Maybe even it'll change the trajectory of your life. So to kind of think about how serious I think about this, I want to do a little thought exercise for you, right? I want to do a little like, I don't know, maybe this will even be fun for you. Well, maybe not. Once you hear out what it is, and it probably won't be. So here's what I want you to think of. Real nice. Just go in your mind. You don't need to close your eyes for this. Just go in your mind. I want you to think forward, past next year, past the year after that, many, many decades into the future. In fact, go ahead and think about you're dead. All right, that got dark quick. But just hear me out. You're dead, and they had your funeral. I want you to even go past that. Go past your funeral, past your memorial service, whatever, past where everybody's had a nice dinner that you probably paid for. Just past all those things, and there's just people sitting around. Maybe they're walking to their car, and they're just saying things about you. You've been to these things. You're just saying, oh, Mark, man, he was this, he was that. All those things. But this time, it's you. It's you that they are talking about. You ever thought about that? I don't think you're weird for thinking about that, because I want you to think about it right now. What do you want them to say about you? I don't mean when they're up on the microphone. I don't mean that. I mean, like, what do you want them to say? What would you hope they would say about your life? How would you want them to categorize your life? After everything. So there's kind of a story about that in the Bible. At least we get a glimpse on what God had to say about somebody's life after it was all said and done. And it was way, 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 way after. I mean, this guy was in Genesis, and this was all the way over in Hebrews, and his name was Moses. We actually have written down for us what God said about Moses. After it was all said and done, here's what he said. And I'll tell you, it is good. He says, by faith, this is Hebrews 11, by faith, Moses, when he was grown up, refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasures of sin. He considered the reproach of Christ greater wealth than the treasure of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward. I don't know about you. That's a pretty incredible statement to have said about you when it's all said and done. Now, maybe you don't know the story of Moses. Maybe you do, but you know this now. That is not how he started. Moses did not start out like that. But he had a moment where it all was set into motion. I mean, Moses was born a young Hebrew boy. We know that. He was born in Egypt, but there was a problem. Pharaoh didn't want those babies there, so he ordered that all of them be killed, but his mom and his sister hid Moses in the river. And then if you remember the story from when you were little, or maybe you're hearing it for the first time now, they were all worried about that, but they were in the Nile River, and they put Moses in a little basket, remember that? And it went down the water, and then Pharaoh's daughter found it, and she's like, oh, what a cute little baby. I want to raise it as my own. And he's like, okay. And Pharaoh's like, cool, I think we can do that. And so this cute little baby boy, they take him in, and Pharaoh and that family raised this little boy as if he was their own little boy for 40 years. So now you're a Hebrew boy growing up in an Egyptian household, and not just any Egyptian household, the king, the boss's household. That is where he's growing up. And then about 40 years later, he's out overseeing a job because he was given a lot of stuff to do. He wasn't just playboy. He was given stuff to do. And Pharaoh gave him that. He put him in a lot of responsibility. And one day he was out, and Moses saw these two people getting into a fight, like a fist fight. And he immediately realizes that this is not good. So he runs over there, and he wants to protect them. He wants to protect them, right? Because it was an Egyptian and an Israelite, okay? And so he goes down there, and he gets into the middle of the fight, and Moses kills the Egyptian. You heard that right. Moses killed a guy. And so he starts to feel like, oh no, so he covers it up, he hides it up, right? And then immediately, this is not going to go over well. I gotta work this out. And so the next day, he's probably mulling that over. These two Israelites get into a fight, and Moses goes over and he's like, you guys got to calm it down. And one of them says, I know what you did yesterday. We saw you. So what are you going to do? Kill us? And Moses gets really, really worried. That's probably super awkward, I'm guessing. He gets really worried, and he takes off, and he runs away. And he leaves Egypt. And for 40 years, he goes on the run. He just becomes he just lives out in the desert. He's like a shepherd. And 40 years of that, after 40 years in the household, he goes and he runs for 40 years, wandering and watching sheep. And then one day, maybe you know what's going to happen next. One day, he's out watching sheep, and all of a sudden, what happens? Say it if you know it. A burning bush starts to talk to him. And Moses starts to talk back. Now, we know God spoke to him through that burning bush. And God says something like this, Moses, you're going to go back to Egypt, and you're going to deliver all your people out. And Moses is like, I don't know about that. He says, listen, what I'm asking you is I'm not asking you to go back there and live. I'm asking you to go back and get all the people, bring them out. And so Moses is literally like, I don't know about that. I don't know that I can do that. I'm not really super sure that's going to go over really well. I mean, I don't know about you, burning bush, but the last time I was there, I killed a guy. And some people saw it. So I'd say they probably remember that. And so if we drop in right here into the story where over in Exodus, that's the story there. I think earlier I said it was in Genesis, but it's in Exodus. You say, what do I need to know? Okay, how about this? And you may recognize these phrases from a year ago, but you also may recognize them because Arthur Ashe said these once, and I heard a guy talking, and here we are. In Exodus 3, we see this. Moses starts where he is. So if you're never going to finish something you don't start, well, I would tell you this. You may think you can't do it. Start where you are. Start where you are. Here's what we see in Exodus 3. Moses said to God, remember, he's been on the run. Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? And God said, but I will be with you. And this shall be the sign for you that I've sent you. When you brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. I mean, God's just told him, you're going to go back. You're going to talk to Pharaoh. And you're going to tell him, let my people go. You guys know that. Let my people go. And Moses said, I don't think I can do that. Who am I that I should go back there and just tell God, or tell Pharaoh, let my people go? I killed a guy 40 years ago. You think you're just going to let me walk in there? And God said something so powerful that I think he wants to say to you today. If you're mulling over, like, sure, God, I hear that you want me to do that, but I don't think I can. Well, you might have missed it. He said to Moses the same thing he says to me, the same thing he says to you all the time. He says, I will be with you. I will be with you. Doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what you've done. The God of the universe, when he tells you something to do, he is with you. So you get to start the thing you're going to finish. You're going to start it right where you are. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to use what you have. Use what you have. So many times, man, God tells you something to do. You're like, all right, I'm going to start with it. But I don't have the ability. I don't have the talent. I don't have the tools. I got nothing to do those things. And God's like, oh, come on. Well, look what he said to Moses. As Moses answered him, behold, they will not believe me or listen to my voice, for they will say, the Lord did not appear to you. And the Lord said to him, what's that in your hand? And Moses said, a staff. Now, we think that's staff, and it did some incredible things, this staff. But listen, Moses is still feeling a wee bit unsure. He's like, what if they don't believe me? They're not going to trust me. I killed a guy. And he's like, what's in your hand? Now, Moses didn't walk out there with that staff that day thinking, this staff's going to really wow God. This is going to be great. This is going to be incredible. No. He just had it. Why did he have a staff? Why do you think? He's a sheep herder. They had a staff. And so God says, let me see what's in your hand there. So I got a staff. He's had this staff. He always has this staff. It's a simple staff. It's a tool for what he does, for his job. And God, we know, if you read a little further on, we know God's going to take that staff and do miraculous things with it. And it's a thing that's been in his hand for 40 years. Here's some things he's going to do. He's going to take that staff. Moses is going to throw it down. It's going to turn into a snake. He's going to pick it back up, be a staff again. That's incredible. At one point, he's going to strike a rock. Water's going to come out. He's going to split seas. He's going to stop fights. All by saying, I'm going to use what is exactly in my hand that I already have. I don't have to go out and buy a bunch of equipment. I don't have to go and get some special degree. God is going to tell me to start something, and I'm going to just start where I am, and I'm going to use the very things that I have. So I don't know where you're sitting, or maybe you're in a car driving, but like, look at your hands. What is already in your hands that you can use for the service of God? Maybe you say, well, I know how to cook. That's great. Maybe I know how to swing a hammer. You can build things, right? You mean, hey, I know how to teach. I already know how to do that. How can I take the things I already have and put them into use for God? You might even right now be arguing with me a little bit. You say, well, all I can do. And God's going to say, perfect. I love to take the things that you think is all you can do. Oh, just little old me. All I have is this staff. All I know how to do is this little thing. And God's like, man, that is incredible. I can take that little thing that you think is insignificant, and I can multiply it and multiply it and multiply it, and you can actually start something and you will finish it. Isn't that cool? So you got to start where you are. Doesn't matter. God tells you to do it, you start where you are. He doesn't expect you to be an expert. He wants you to start right where you are. He wants you to open your hands and use what you have. And the last thing is this: he wants you to do what you can. Do what you can. God ever told you to do something, you're like, oh, there's no way I could reach that many people. Oh, there's no way I could do all of those things. And God is literally like saying, I just want you to start. I just want you to start, and I will multiply the power that is necessary in your life. Look what he tells Moses. Moses said to the Lord, oh, my Lord, I'm not eloquent. That means I don't speak very well. I'm not eloquent, either in the past or since you have spoken to your servant, but I am slow of speech and of tongue. Then the Lord said to him, who has made man's mouth? Who makes him mute or deaf or seeing or blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now therefore go, and I will be with your mouth and teach you what you shall speak. Moses again, you get what's going on there. Moses argues with God a lot. He's like, listen, God, this plan seems speaking heavy. And I don't know if you noticed, I don't speak real well. It'd be like if somebody said, Mark, we need you to go teach this algebra class. I'd be like, listen, I went to preacher school. I didn't go to math school. This looks like it's going to be a lot of math here. And it's like, okay, maybe you need to get somebody else to go do this. And God says to him, listen, who made your mouth? Who made your mouth? Who made any mouth you've ever seen? Don't you think the God that made your mouth can help you along the way? Don't you think he could? I mean, God is using some solid logic here. I'll take care of it, is what he says. I'll take care of it as you go. Now, I feel a little tension here, because God's saying, go on, get started, and Moses is still saying, I'm just not too sure. Well, we know this: Moses will never finish if he doesn't start. And we know that whatever God is telling you in these final hours of this year, 2023, you will never finish those things if you don't start. You will never do that if you don't start. So, God tells Moses, I'm going to fill in the gaps for you. I'm going to take care of you. He literally is like, it's no big deal. If you don't speak eloquently, I already knew that. I'll teach you along the way. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. Many of us, we're still thinking, man, I need to be more educated. Man, God's put in my heart to work with the next gen ministry or to serve out in the parking lot, but I need to read another book on that. No, you don't. No, you don't. Because you'll never finish if you don't start. We simply, sometimes I believe, just need to get going and get started. Start where you are. Use what you have. Do what you can. You say, well, what can I even do? Well, I don't know. Like if God put it in your heart right now, you say, oh, you're going to heal your marriage. You're going to do that all today? Probably not. But you're going to make the decision to do it today. You're not going to get 100% done today, but you can start today. You say, well, you said earlier about a marathon. I think I'd like to run a marathon. Okay, you are most likely, if you've never run before, not going to run a marathon before the end of next week. At least, and not get up the next morning. But you can start. You can get out and run a mile. You say, well, our finances, man, we need to get those in shape. You going to have that licked by January 5th? Probably not. But you can set a plan. You can get a pencil and sit together with your spouse or whoever you share that responsibility with, and you can say, listen, we're going to set out some plans here. So I would like to do that. Can you make better grades in school today? I don't know. First of all, you're not in school today if you're watching this on a Sunday, but you can say, I'm going to start where I am. I'm going to use what I have. I'm going to put it into motion. These are just practical things that I think God cares about deeply. So, what are you going to do? You're going to start where you are. You're going to use what you have. And you're going to do what you can. What happens is sometimes we see where God is taking us. And you think you've got it figured out. Maybe you say, ooh, I like the end result. I like being able to look ahead a year and see the end result, but I don't know that I want to go there. Remember who it is that is calling you to these things. You say, Mark, you're being silly. Better health or getting my finance, is that biblical? I believe it is. God cares deeply about you, very practically, but he also cares about you very spiritually. Some of you are far away from God, and you're counting the cost. You're counting the cost of what it would cost to follow God. Can I just tell you, what does it cost you to not follow God? Maybe you say, well, I'm not ready, and I don't know enough. You know enough. Here's what you need to know. Here's where the start where you are would play in with this. You know that you're not with God. And you know the thing that you have right now is lostness. And you know that what you can do right now is make a decision to believe. That would be an incredible thing to start in this moment. What we see with Moses is that he takes that first step, and then he goes in there, and about 1 million others take a step with him. And he spends the next 40 years, the last 40 years of his life, doing the thing that God told him to do. 40 years in Pharaoh's house, 40 years out shepherding, and 40 years leading God's people. Did he make mistakes along the way? Absolutely. But the promise is the same. I will be with you. And so I'll read to you again from Hebrews 11. By faith, Moses, when he was grown up, this is what he says about him when it's all been said and done. God says, he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter, choosing rather to be mistreated with the people of God than to enjoy the fleeting pleasure of sin. He considered the reproach of Christ greater wealth than the treasures of Egypt, for he was looking to the reward. So what do you want him to say about you? Do you want to leave a legacy? Do you want people to say, he finished? He did things for God. He followed God every day of his life. He made mistakes, but he trusted in the promise. That's my challenge for you. If you haven't started already, you don't think God has something for you, ask him. Take today. Take this week. If you go to Keystone Montgomeryville, we're going to take the whole month of January praying and fasting. I would say work into that. God, what is it you want me to start this year? I hope you have a great new year. Let me be the first to wish you Happy New Year. I'll see you next week at Keystone Montgomeryville.
Can't go back to the beginning. Can't control what tomorrow will bring. But I know here in the middle is the place where you promised to be. Not enough unless you come. Will you meet me here again? 'Cause all I want is all you are. Will you meet me here again? As I